Hey guys, welcome to the Sunday morning Bible class. I'm Miss Stephanie, and this week's lesson is going to be taken from the book of Acts, chapter 16. So last week, Miss Lori started the second journey of Paul for us. So if you will remember, so we're on the second journey. The first journey was with Paul also, but his companion on this journey was Barnabas. And so when Paul and Barnabas decided they wanted to go back and strengthen the churches that they had, something like that. So when Paul and Barnabas decided they wanted to go back and strengthen the churches that they had established on the first journey, they had a talk and decided who we're going to bring with us. And they said, and Barnabas said, let's bring John Mark with us. And Paul said, I don't think bringing John Mark with us is going to be a good idea. John Mark left us on our first journey. I don't think he's the person we should take with us. But Barnabas said, yes, I think we need to take my cousin Mark with us on this next journey that we start. And Paul said, I don't think so. And they disagreed so much about it that they decided that they would not travel together. And Barnabas decided to take his cousin John Mark, and they go to Cyprus. And so Paul has to find another companion. And Paul chooses to take with him a man named Silas. Silas was a brother from the church in Jerusalem. He was also a Roman citizen like Paul. And so Silas and Paul decide to head off on the second journey together. So here is a very, very crudely drawn map of the area where they start off. So here's the Antioch church. And that's where Barnabas and Paul had their discussion about who we're going to take on the second journey, and they decide not to. And then Barnabas takes John Mark, and they go to Cyprus. And then from Antioch, Paul and Silas are going to go on the second journey. And you'll remember last week they were in Lystra. And in Lystra, they picked up another person. They picked up young Timothy to go with them on the rest of the journey. So it's Paul and Silas and Timothy now. And Paul had wanted to travel and strengthen the churches in the region of Galatia and Phrygia. And so he's trying to do that, and he is attempting to go into Asia, and somehow the Spirit conveys to him, you're not going to Asia. So he's like, okay, I'll go to the region of Bithynia. I can do that. I'll just go up here to Bithynia. So he tries to go into Bithynia, and somehow the Spirit says, you aren't going to Bithynia. So he's like, okay, so I guess we'll go this way. And they end up going to a city called Troas. So Paul and Silas and Timothy are in Troas. Okay, so we got Paul and Silas and Timothy all in Troas. And so as Paul is sleeping, he has a vision. And the vision is a man who lives in the region of Macedonia. Macedonia is across the sea. It is above Achaia. It's all Grecian. Athens is right here. Everybody knows about Athens. So he gets a vision of a man who lives in Macedonia saying, hey, come over here. Come tell us about the good news. We'd like to know. Come to us. Come over here. And so when Paul wakes up, he tells his companions about this vision he had, and they're like, well, that's pretty clear. I think I know where God wants us to go now. So they pack up, they get on a ship, and they sail from Macedonia. One of the interesting things about the telling of this story in Acts, we know that Acts was written by Luke, And up until this point, it's all talking about things in the third person. He's not there. He's talking about all these people, what they do. But in Troas, it switches and it says, we set out from Troas. So we also know from the way the text is written that not only do Paul, Silas, and Timothy go, but now we have Luke with us. So we have the 4 of these men get on a boat, sail across. They're trying to get to Macedonia. They stop in the little island of Samothrace. They stop here overnight. They keep going on, and they go up to the port of Neapolis in Macedonia. And then they travel 10 miles in, and they go to the city of Philippi. And Philippi, this is a super important city. It is the leading city in Macedonia. Philippi is it's a Roman colony, and it was established in 42 BC by Mark Antony. And if you know things about history, you know Mark Antony was one of a politician in general who helped Julius Caesar take Rome from being a republic to the empire. So Mark Antony, when they took Philippi, they changed its name to this to honor Mark Antony's dad named Philip. So this Roman colony, they had all of the great things about being in Rome, except you weren't in Rome. They are in Macedonia. So they had a senate. They had a lot of military people that settled there. That they retired and they settled in Philippi. They were very proud of who they were because they were known as like the Little Rome. So they were very proud of who they were. They had their Roman affiliation, and so they didn't have to pay tribute to Rome, and they also, I'm trying to think of what else they had. Oh, yes, they had their own government, and they were also located on a very, very important road called the Via Egnatia, or the Egnatian Way. And so this road that Philippi is located on is a huge road where there was military things that happened on there. There was travel, there was trading, and so Philippi, being located on this, was an incredible place for Paul to go and take the message, because from here, people who come into Philippi are going to be leaving out of Philippi, and they're going to take that message with them as they go. So the 4 take their trip up to Philippi, and they get to Philippi. When they get to Philippi, they are there for a few days. And Philippi, since it is not a Jewish place, we know it's a Roman place, they don't have a synagogue. And so on the Sabbath, the 4 men go to a place that is known to have prayer. We have Paul, we have Silas, we have Timothy, and we have Dr. Luke. So I'll give these guys some legs and faces a little bit. And they go by the river where it's known that there is a place of prayer. Since there wasn't a synagogue, that was the place where people would go. And so there was a group of women who were gathered by the river on the Sabbath. We don't know how many are there. I'm just going to draw, let's give her a little dress. I'm just going to draw a few of them. So there were women there by the river at this place of prayer on the Sabbath. And one of these women was named Lydia. Lydia is a businesswoman. She is from the city of Thyatira, which is not in Macedonia. Thyatira is over next to Ephesus, next to Troas. It's over in Asia. So Lydia is far away from home, but she's in the the great metropolis of Philippi doing her business. She sells purple cloth. And where she is from Thyatira, Thyatira is known for their purple dye. They are famous for it. So that's what Lydia does. She's far away. She's a believer in God. And so this businesswoman, this Lydia, is there, and she hears Paul's message about Jesus. And Lydia believes about Jesus, and she says, I want to be baptized. And so Paul baptizes her and everybody who is in Lydia's household. We also don't know how many that is, but everybody who's in Lydia's household, they also believe and are baptized. And she says, please stay with me while you're here. Please stay with me. Come to my house. If you count me a true believer, come and stay with me. And it says that she was able to persuade them to stay with her at her house. So it's so funny to think about. Paul's vision that he had was this man from Macedonia who says, hey, Paul, come tell us about the good news. Come tell us about Jesus. We want to hear. But it ends up, it's not a man who's the first believer in Macedonia, in Europe. It's a woman. I thought that was so special that God would choose a woman to be the first believer in Macedonia. Across, if you look over here, here's Jerusalem. They've gone to here, they've gone to here. Now they're all the way up there in northern Greece. So when you think about this, Jesus said to his apostles, we already know, he said, I have sheep from another fold. And here's more sheep from that other fold. And Jesus had said, I want you to take the word to all nations. So we're going to all nations. No, we're going to all nations. And he said, you're going to take my word to Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, all the ends of the earth. We are getting into the ends of the earth. And if you want to go back even farther, we can go back to Abraham. God makes a promise to Abraham that he is going to be the father of many nations. Everybody's going to be blessed through Abraham. And everybody is blessed through Abraham. Abraham's part of his tree. We come down to Jesus. Jesus comes from Abraham's lineage. And through him, and then all the nations are going to find out about Jesus this way, with the apostles taking the message out. So I hope that you have enjoyed our lesson. I hope you are amazed about God's way he uses people, because on that first journey, Paul and Barnabas took the message to the region that they did. Then they had decided on our second journey, we're going to go back and strengthen those churches. But God had a little bit of a different idea. He's like, well, I'm going to take you someplace else on this second journey. I'm going to take you over there. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you have any questions or comments or anything and you want to comment, you can do that below and somehow we'll get them. And I hope you guys have a great day. Okay, bye-bye.